If your last hire felt more like a headache than a help, you're not alone. But the real issue, it's probably not them. Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose? You're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay White, and I have a question for you. Are you hiring for tasks or are you hiring for growth? We need to talk really carefully about that because misaligned hires aren't just expensive, they're absolutely exhausting. And I have had that experience. And I have a client recently who hired the wrong fit. She thought she needed a doer, someone who could attack that to-do list. But what she actually needed was a decision maker. She needed someone who could take ownership and actually get after things from a more strategic level. And the result? Incredible friction and frustration, rework, angry clients, and lost revenue. What we're going to do in this episode is unpack this idea of hiring strategically. And by the end of the episode, you'll have a smarter approach to hiring and a real start to your people strategy. All right. So one of the things that I encounter so frequently is founders that hire too late or out of desperation. And the truth is, that is not a great recruitment strategy. When we are feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, or we're hiring too late for a big project, what happens is we don't do a great job of hiring. We hire from a place of real panic. And that's not a place where we actually make really strategic leadership decisions like a CEO. So this is what happens when you don't plan your team and you don't have a people strategy that actually connects the team to what you're trying to drive those big, beautiful business goals. And that's the idea. That's what we're going to talk about here today, because it's truly what's missing in most hiring, in most recruitment strategies, is actually that direct line connection to what you're trying to accomplish. And what happens is we don't have a clarity on outcomes. And I'm not just talking about job descriptions. I'm talking about accountabilities. I'm talking about fit. I'm talking about values alignment. I'm talking about actually hiring someone because their skills, experience, and what they deliver, their value that they add, the results that they get is actually going to align with one of your business goals or more than one, right? And when we can do that, we can actually hire the right people and they are excited to work for us and they deliver great work. And this is, I find, what is so often missing. So what I want to do today is walk you through my 3-part hiring framework. And it really does start with that business plan and really thinking about what do I want to accomplish? And that's not even just this year. It could be over the next 3 years or maybe the next 5 years. And I recognize sometimes that's actually hard to get your hands around. But the truth is, if we start thinking at that level, again, that's a CEO move, then we can really lift our head up and we can start seeing what is on the horizon. So we want to think about our business plan. Of course, we want to think really carefully about our values because that's where the fit comes in, right? How do we work together? That's our culture. And the foundational pieces of our culture are those values. And we want to make sure that we have people on our team that get those values, right? So I'll give you an example. A lot of us have a value of integrity in our business. And for real, that actually comes from us as an individual. When we think about integrity, I often define that as doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. And in a business context, it's doing the right thing even when it's not always profitable. Well, we want to make sure we have someone on our team that actually understands that personally and in that business context. That's really crucial to finding the right fit. And of course, we got to layer into that the skills and experience. But we want someone who's coachable. We want someone who has ownership. They love to take something and really get their teeth into it, really run with it. Those are the really key pieces that help us find the right human being. And of course, then we want to make sure that our internal systems are set up for them to be successful. Do we have a great onboarding program? Do we have a system there so that we can get them up to speed and get them running as quickly and effectively and efficiently as possible? And those are the important things about hiring from a strategic level. All right. One of the key things we need to do, again, strategic leadership move. Stop hiring for today's fires. Now, I know you're going to say, Lindsay, but I need help. Like I can't keep up. And there's something that's really burning. I get that. But what we need to be thinking about, the strategic leadership move, is hiring for tomorrow's growth and really thinking about where we want to go, how we need to get there, and who we need to help us with that. That's what's really critical. Without a people strategy, we don't know those things. That's what the people strategy gives us, is an opportunity not just to think about our business plan and our goals, but who we need and when we need them to accomplish that. Because otherwise your team will cost you more money than they will bring in. You will sacrifice revenue and nobody wants that. All right. My power move, creating a people roadmap that connects every role in our business to your vision, your budget, your quarterly plan, your yearly plan. Suddenly, hiring stops being a panic move and starts being strategic. Where do we design that people roadmap? That's inside our people strategy. Right? So it's really key that we think about this, that we pop our head up from in the business to thinking and working on the business so we can really start leading at that next level. So here's some key takeaways for you. It's strategy before staffing. We really need to think strategically before we start to hire people, because otherwise we're sacrificing time and money and potentially clients. We're certainly going to sacrifice our own happiness, right? Because we're going to become frustrated. We're going to end up redoing work, and that does not solve the problem. In fact, it'll make it worse. So strategy before staffing is critical. Your next hire should solve a problem, not create a new one. And if you do have someone that you have hired and they are creating more problems than they solve, then we need to talk. That's a different episode because they're actually costing you time and they're costing you money. And of course, the most important key takeaway, clarity creates confidence for you and for your new team member. So being really clear, not just about what you want them to do, not just the checklist of items, but also the accountability that you want them to take. Do you want them to have ownership? Do you need someone that's creative and is a divergent thinker? All of these kinds of things you need to be clear on before you go to market and hire someone. Because if you're not clear, they can't be clear and they can't win. And we're not setting them up to be successful. We're not setting ourselves up to be successful because that's really hard for us to lead. So clarity creates confidence. All right. So what we've talked about today, this is the P in the LPC method. It's about people strategy, and your hiring, of course, is part of that. And when you connect your hiring to your long-term vision and your culture, You create a team that works with you, not just for you. And that's what we all want. We want a high-performing team who really is engaged in the vision. They understand and believe deeply in the mission. They align with our values. They get our clients, and they are eager for leadership and growth. That's when we create super high performance. And when we have happy team members like that, what happens? They generate revenue for us. This is the kind of work we do inside the LPC Accelerator. We go deep on this work. We map out your dream org chart. We clarify roles, and then we build the right recruitment strategy right down to the interview questions that align with your values and implement the systems so that hiring becomes strategic and smooth, not stressful and overwhelming. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, what I do have for you is my Rockstar Recruitment Workbook. And you can download that. It's free to you. And it outlines the framework. It gives you the same steps that I use inside the LPC Accelerator with my clients. And it is all for you so that you can actually think more strategically about your recruitment. And I'm happy to offer that to you. The link is in the show notes below. Awesome. So what are we doing next week? Well, we're going to talk about the third pillar of the LPC methodology, and that's culture. We're going to talk about why it's the hidden driver of scalable success. And I can't wait to have this conversation with you. I love talking about culture. So until next time, lead with heart, grow with purpose, and stay high voltage. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.